So, is your brand projection projecting truth or projecting what you want it to project? See, in today's society, I think ever more than ever, people are looking for truth. And all they're really seeing is other things presented to them that are presented as truth, but not necessarily are they true at all. So let's talk about brand projection, and let's talk about your brand today on the Lyons Den. Let's get into this. Hi, I'm Kevin Lyons. I'm CEO and Chief Solutions Officer of Lyons Den Solutions. And I really want to talk real quick about brand projection and brand truth and how your brand is perceived, and if how your customers, your members, the people who interact with your brand, if they relate your brand back to what you're projecting, and if what you're projecting, they relate that back to who you actually are. Because ultimately, it's our viewers, our customers, and everyone else who wants to see the authentic, true person or business or association or nonprofit or entity that you really are. So how do we do that? Now, there's brand consistency. So making sure that all the colors are right, all the logos are right, making sure everything is pulled through from a brand perspective on how it is projected to the public. But brand value and brand value propositions and brand truths are something much deeper than that. It's a reflection of who you or who your organization really is compared to what you say that you are, and this is the hard one, compared to who they, comma, your customers, your members, your viewers, your subscribers see you as. And so I just want to leave this thought with you. Are you being true to your brand all the way through? And let's just take personality-based brands right now. That would be like if Kevin Lyons had a Kevin Lyons YouTube channel and Kevin Lyons on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and everything else. Does that reflect what the people that I interact with, what I want them to perceive me as? Or does that reflect who I really am? And I have to say this. If you can get to the point of confidence of letting people see who you really are, you will have better trust with them, and you will hit and exceed their expectations, the deliverability of whatever your brand proposition is, to a level beyond what you can imagine. So many times, so I'm in my late 40s. Okay, I'm 49. I know I'm almost 50. I'm good with that. Throughout my career, I have tried many different approaches to brand proposition, brand trust, brand promises, brand projections. And I have to say, every time that I got into a position, whether it was my brand or a client's brand or someone else's brand, that I was trying to prop the brand up by polish, or prop the brand up by checking all the boxes, or telling them what I think that they're looking for in my brand. Every time I've done that, even if I made money, even if it was successful on some other metric, it never felt successful to me. And so I stopped doing that about 10 years ago. I don't know if it's age or whatever, but I started saying, you know what? I value my brand. I value, even if I'm representing a client's brand or I'm representing my company's brand, Lyons Den Solutions, I had to get to the point where I valued Kevin Lyons as a personal brand, to where I made the decision that I am going to be authentic and I'm going to be altruistic. I'm going to be a reflection of what I believe. And as a believer, as a Christian, I make no bones about that. I'm going to measure myself up to a standard that's higher than I am, to make sure that I don't ever again have to worry about brand projection or brand perception. Because that right there, that's the battleground. Brand projection. What are you projecting out into the world? Where are you projecting out into your advertising, your live stream, and everything else? If I'm projecting, I'm here in a tuxedo, but really I'm just here in a cheap Walmart shirt that has a screen print on it as a tuxedo, you may, for a moment, a fleeting moment, trust that I'm in a tuxedo. But I know I'm in the cheap $9 shirt that I wear maybe twice a year to embarrass my family or to show up on a Lyons Den Christmas party with. I know the gap, and you know the gap between what you're projecting and who you are. So let's pause on that for a second, though. I'm not saying this is a judgment thing. So go deep with me. There's two concepts here. The perception from your clients, customers, viewers, subscribers, and everyone else. They are measuring you against truth. They're not measuring you against ability and their first impressions of you. You, though, have to figure out who you are. And if you're trying to be something that you are not, there's two things here. If you're trying to be something that you're not, you're trying to look like something that you see someone else does, you're always going to fail yourself. The second thing, you were created, were birthed, you were put on this planet, I believe, with a vision and a mission and a purpose to be you. As our friends over on Live Streaming Pro says, to be glorious, as to be uniquely you. And guess what? If no one else has ever done this before, and I'm not qualified to do it, but I'm the guy here behind the camera, I give you permission. I give you permission to be 100% you, and I challenge you to put yourself out there. Let people see who you really are. Put your company out there. Let them to see who you really are as an organization. Put your association out there. Let them see who you really are and the value of the collaborative effort of what you bring. And I would challenge you that the truth of who you are and your skills and your talents, your drive, your ambition, your passion, your motivation, your authentic feelings, and then even revealing who you are as a person behind that will give you so much further success and results in whatever product or service or value or benefit that you provide than it will ever give you if you're trying to project something that you are not. So, with that, let me wrap up. Brand projection and brand perception. Here is the silver bullet between both of them. Truth. If you come forward with confidence, believing in yourself, and believing in the benefits and skills and gifts and talents that you can bring to your audience, that you can bring to your subscribers, that you can bring to your clients, and you can set aside things like insecurity, or I'm not sure if, or I have to measure up to, or forget all of that. Be you. God put you on this planet for your calling and your purpose, and go be you and wrap your brand around who you are. And guess what? And I learned this, I wish I would have learned this like years ago, but I learned that, because I worked around a lot of motivational speakers. I worked around a lot of different people that are projecting these ideas and visions that are not really, it's not a lie. But in the core of it, it wasn't truth. When you can get to this point where you can wear a silly Walmart tuxedo shirt and say, this is kind of who I am. And this is beyond myself, the value and the skills and the abilities that I can bring to you. And I'm in it with you. And you start lowering down any type of haughtiness. Haughtiness is like, that's a deep word. Any type of pride. Any type of, now I'm not saying self-confidence, but I'm saying projecting your self-confidence to make up for any type of self-deficiency you might feel. But you really start trusting in who you are and what you bring, who your company is and what they bring, who your organization or association is and the value that they bring. And you project the authenticity of that. All of a sudden, the brand projection and perception becomes the brand reality and the brand truth. So, I'm Kevin Lyons. Again, I'm CEO and Chief Solutions Officer at Lyons Den Solutions, but I'm also Kevin, who I don't have this whole thing worked out, but I work really hard to make sure that I know who I am and that I project to you who I am. And I hope that there's no gap that you find between your perception and the reality that I have as a brand for myself and Lyons Den Solutions. And I really hope and pray that you find that same space. Now, let me stop. Warning, this is a journey. It's not, I haven't arrived. You haven't arrived. You constantly have to ask yourself, are you being true to yourself? Are you being true to your brand? Is your brand being true to your clients, your constituents, your members, your followers, subscribers? And then are you pulling all the way that through to the deliverability of what you've promised? So with that, I thank you. And I hope that I never have to wear a fake tuxedo again on camera. But check, if it was on a bucket list, it's done. Be true to yourself. And I can't wait to see what your brand does for you. Thank you. See you next time.